Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Gamefromscratch, and today we are going to be checking out a sneak peek of Godot 4.8 because Dev2 and Dev3 have now been released to go along with Dev1. Before we get into that, heads up, there is a bundle of incredible interest to game developers, specifically Godot developers, the Modern Indie Game Studio bundle. Well, why? Well, first off, it's $15 for 21 books here, but the key thing here is the books that are in it. What you see here is we have Godot 4 Best Practices. This is by Robert Henning. He runs the YouTube channel Game Dev Journey. There is also this one right down here, Godot 4 for Beginners. This is by Robert Henning as well. And then we also have Godot 4 Game Development Projects, and that one is run by Kids Can Code. We also have another one in here, this one right here, Learn GD Script by Developing Games with Godot 4. That one is by Sander, who does not have a YouTube channel as far as I know. They're all Godot 4 projects. These ones are aimed more at beginners. This one is more of an intermediate level book up here. I've taken a look at all four of them. They seem to be quite solid starting locations if you are learning Godot right now. And again, 2 out of 3 of them, you probably already know them from their YouTube channels. And on top of that, you're getting some other pretty cool stuff here. C++ game programming, a bunch of things around Blender, Blender sculpting, C++ animations, Python scripting in Blender, and so on. But I know that the majority of you would be interested in those Godot books. All right, so let's jump in and take a look at what is in the new releases. I'm going to cover Dev 1 a little bit at the end, but I already did a video on it. And this one, there's not a lot of visual stuff here, so there's not going to be any real hands-ons in this video. We're just going to go through what is in each particular release. So in the Dev 2 release, we've got this one. So basically now, when you click on a resource, it will automatically expand out and show that resource. You can see there 3D model. It automatically shows the preview of 3D model. This is just a little time saver. Before, you used to have to open it up, expand it out to see it. Again, a small tweak, but a little quality of life thing. We also now have the ability to play a scene directly from the file system. So you can go to a file system, a TSN file, right click it and click play scene. Quick way to run things. I actually like this one quite a bit because it's one of those things I've always kind of wished you could do instead of having to open the scene up and then hit play. Should also save a little bit of time, although they will have to load the scene regardless there. This one is mostly for your version control, your diff and merge stuff. Objects will behave like dictionaries now, in that right now, when they're printed out, it's just like one long script and it scrolls off. It now automatically new lines them. Should make it a little bit more legible and so on. Like I said, not a lot of really sexy stuff to go hands-on with here, but those are the improvements. And again, we have a number of bug fixes as well. But those are the new features in the Dev 2 release. And then we got Dev 3 just dropped on Friday, I think it was. And here we've got Dev 3. Well, what's new there? The highlight is support for admonitions, which I actually did not know was a word. This is like annotations inside of your document. So going forward, you're going to be able to do things like put note, warning, and so on. So in the documentation, it will show up like this in the future. That is prototyped at this point, but this is a documentation level thing. I don't know what an admonition is compared to an annotation. They seem to be the same thing, but that has been added to the documentation side of things. And now straight up, this is my favorite new feature in Dev 3, and that is the underlining of warnings and errors. You think to yourself, wait, you've always been able to do that. That's always been a thing. No, before what it used to do is underline the whole damn word. So if there was an error on the sentence, it would underline the entire thing. Now it is actually underlying only the specific problem. So that means that it's going to be a lot easier to figure out and debug your code based on this new underline system. So again, instead of having to do the whole word, it actually only underlines the relevant portion, which is triggering the error. Again, hands down my favorite feature in Dev 3. Probably my favorite feature in 4.8 so far, to be honest. It's a little thing, but it's going to be like a huge time saver if you use the code editor and you're trying to track down your errors there. And we've got a couple of nice changes to the file system quality of life. What you see down here, you can now use the control key to zoom in and out the file size, like you see right there. And then on top of that, and we've got a lot of improvements in this level over the last couple of releases here, is we've got glob-based searching. So you want to find a type of file or something with specific prefix without necessarily narrowing it down to a specific file. Utilizing glob search, you can now, your results can explicitly capture whatever use case you desire. So new searching option there. So nicer search results. And then when it comes to plugin developers, they now have the ability to access the keyboard property, which obviously is going to make plugin support better, which is nice. And then XR Vision OS module. I thought they canceled the Vision OS, but anyways, support for that is coming there. And then we got a bug fix. If you had a super high polling rate mouse on Windows, it could cause some problems if it moves too fast and it could tank the frame rate. As you can see over here, as you're zipping around, the frame rate's really low. Now, no effect. So basically a bug improvement for super high pull rate mice. A nice little fix there. Then a number of other improvements here as well. And then let's go quick recap again to Dev1, which again, I did a video about earlier on, so I'm covering this at the end, but in case you missed that video, there's a lot more visual stuff in Dev1. So we got the game view now docked and has a new simplified toolbar. So here you can see in game mode before, it used to look like this. Now it has been changed like this. Now I got a couple comments, people in the original video that said that they actually don't like this new setup. I'm curious what you think of it in general compared to the old setting. I do like the fact that it docks by default, but again, some people didn't like that as well. So it is only enabled by default for new projects, by the way. So if you have an existing project, you'll have to go ahead and turn that on if you wish. You got support for drag toggle visibility in the scene tree. I love this as well. I actually used it in a demo just the other day. But now you can just drag your mouse over the visibility as you go down, and it will toggle the visibility of everything you hover over. And then you can do it again. The nice thing here is it also doesn't update until you release the mouse. So if you miss one, you can go, oops, I missed one, and then come back up. And it's only going to get a sequence until you actually let go of the mouse. It's lovely functionality. I like that it was added. I didn't know that I wanted it until I have it, but now that I have it, I like it. So 3D viewport and now also override grid map access. So through the new editor option, allow viewport override, which is enabled by default. Hovering the mouse over a viewport set to a specific side will cause the currently edited access to match that size. We also have pseudo localization preview. So as you're typing things, you can see a preview of it right here. So you can turn it on and see what it looks like in the various different translations if you have them in place. So if you're doing internationalization, definitely a useful new feature there as well. Another one that we've got here, again, a little polarizing if people like it or not, and they're still working on how to represent it, how it'll work and how to configure it. But you now have sticky options. And I like sticky options, to be honest, because a lot of times you want to go back to the parent of whatever tree you're looking at. So here you're looking at the VBox container, for example. It keeps it pinned at the top instead of just scrolling down and then you having to go back up and finding the original thing. I like sticky UI. Some people don't like sticky tree. I don't really get it. It's very useful when you've got a lot of objects. If you don't have very many things in your tree, it can get in the way a bit. But if you have a lot of files, it keeps it, again, at the topmost level that you've got selected. I like that one. I'm curious what you guys think of it. Let me know in the comments down below. And then we got some improved touch support for both text edit and code editing here. So tap, press, and release positions the cursor and opens the virtual keyboard. Drag, press, drag, and release scrolls the text content. And then text selection, double tap to select a word, double tap, hold, drag, select the portion you're hovering over. Obviously really useful because of the fact that if you did not know this already, you can actually run Godot, the editor, inside of Android. So obviously useful there. And then the big new ones here were fuzzy search and fuzzy search matching. Makes searching, again, much more natural to the way people work. And that functionality is there as well. So that was the original features of Dev1, and then we've got now Dev2 and Dev3 available. And then a quick reminder, once again, there is this book bundle going on there. It's $15, so it's less than the cost of a single book here, and then you're getting all the other stuff for free, effectively. And we've got, again, Godot 4 best practices in there, as well as the Godot 4 game development projects, learn GD script, with developing Godot 4 game, and then Godot 4 for beginners. Again, cool stuff in there. If you're looking for some Godot-based books, do check that out. Link is down below as well. All right, that's it. Let me know what you think. Comments down below. I'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.